Greetings from the Windy City. We're here for another episode of the Thriving Artist Podcast. I am Dawn Tracy. I am here with the prolific, multifaceted, the only person that got my SpongeBob reference,
That's right.
Mr. Jared Hoffa. Right? Like
Yes,
Jimmy Hoffa,
you got it.
but not.
Well, I am related, actually.
Are you?
Yes, that's true. That is true.
This is
So,
great already. Let's
right?
talk about that.
Out of the gate, huh?
Where is he?
So here's all I know. I don't know where he is. It's funny. I just got asked this a couple days ago, and I asked my mom about it, and she because I actually didn't know for sure. She confirmed that when I was a kid, the Hoffas called my grandfather and invited him to a family reunion. He went to it. He never talked about it. I don't know how he was, what the situation was, and he kind of buried it. So, but there obviously is a connection there. So,
Whoa, the more you know.
the more you know.
Oh my God. So this is part, right? The reading.
The rainbow?
Yeah, yes. Okay. So this is part one of 2-3 interviews because this is already like so interesting. So I know your birthday's coming up. I know that unfortunately you are a Sagittarius. And I noticed that the time steps for both of your films on PickSquid have 11s in them. So your first movie is like an hour and 11
Wow,
minutes.
wow.
And your documentary is 11:11 or something like that. Was that
Wow. No, it wasn't on purpose. No, that's interesting. I never
Really?
I never looked at that. Huh.
Huh. I thought to myself, I'm like, wow.
No, I'm not
He's
that
really
clever.
in love with him.
I really
with
love
himself.
myself. No, I'm not that clever.
Here I am thinking you're a narcissist,
No,
and you're
right?
just like,
Worship me with 11 everywhere.
right.
No.
That's what I thought. I'm like,
No,
am I
that's-
gonna have to?
No, that's interesting. Now I need to look at that because I didn't know that. Seriously, no.
Yeah. 11 is prominent, if I'm not mistaken, because it was late at night. But 11 is prominent in both of those timestamps for your features. Which
Wow.
one do you want to delve into first?
Uh,
You've got such an interesting career.
Yeah, I have. I don't even know where to begin. I guess maybe go chronologically, right? That makes the most sense, I think.
Reverse chronological.
Reverse. You want to start with Iceland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know about Iceland?
Tell us about Iceland. I haven't been to Iceland. Have you been to Iceland, GC? We have a nod of no. So it seems like, and what was interesting, there was an old Sex and the City episode where Sarah Jessica Parker's Carrie Bradshaw writes this love letter to New York because she's a columnist.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
You're really
I was
dating yourself on this. You know that.
I think you know my age,
Yep.
and he knows my age, and it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
All right, continue, sorry.
I'm a spinster and I will die alone, and it's okay. The cat will
Aw.
eat off my face, and it's okay. But there's this episode where she writes this love letter to New York City, and you opened with like a homage to Iceland as a female. So how did you come up with that idea, that clever idea?
Yeah, that's a good question. How it all even came about was very not exciting. My friend Adam Sawacki was turning 30 and he wanted to go to Iceland, and him and I are really good friends, and we have a good chemistry as far as traveling, and we work. He's helped me with some of my projects. I've helped him with some of his, and he's like, would you want to go? And I thought, hey, why not? This is a vacation. So I wasn't even planning to bring a camera. Now he has his own production company. So he brought a drone and cameras. So I just thought, I'll just kind of let him do everything and I'll whatever. I decided last minute to get a camera. And again, it worked out weirdly because he had the really big gear. So he was, and you'll see it in the documentary, these beautiful drone shots and these wide, vast shots, right? But he didn't have kind of the intricate small literally the camera was a little Sony
I saw
ZV.
the little
So
white camera.
I could literally pull it out at any.
That's what she said.
That's what she said, right? At any situation. So like if we're at a bar or a unique experience or something that would take him time, I could just do that. And within a day, you just knew that Iceland was different than anywhere else I have ever been. Now I didn't know I was going to write anything or do anything. I just was so astounded by what I saw. And most importantly is we left the tourist area. We actually our idea was going to go from the south to the north and then swing right back down. That was the focus.
Okay.
When we got to the top of Iceland, we met a bunch of crazy Icelanders who like basically grabbed my friend and is like, you have to go east. You have to. You don't go back the way you came. You're not seeing the beauty of Iceland. And so we end up rechanging our entire trip into something that was supposed to be pretty simple with me not really shooting,
Mhm.
canceled all Airbnbs, and now we decided if we really bust our ass, we can do the entire country. And so we drove up and swung the entire country, not the inner circle, the main, all of it. And
Mm.
in doing that, it was two things. One, there are no tourists. There's no anyone. You're in it. Like you're in Iceland. You're in places that even Icelanders aren't. And it became very clear the more I did that, the more I started to fall in love with this country because it did feel like a life of its own. It was the people, the culture, just as I said in the doc, like the physical rocks, like how it looked. And so I was just so spellbound by what I saw. It was like the night when we finally got back to Reykjavik, it was funny. We had really branded ourselves now as locals and we're almost looked at as locals because of where he had been, what we knew, how we talked. That when I came back to Reykjavik, I was actually annoyed to see tourists and Americans because I had been
What
with
a
all I know,
hypocrite.
well, because I'd felt so connected to the people in Hoob and the people in Uri and all these places.
Look at him
And
name
so,
dropping
right?
folks. I told you.
I'm
No,
sure someone's gonna fact check that that's not how you say it.
no, you said
Right.
you
But
uncultured.
so when I came back, it was funny. I almost felt disappointed because I was like, man, I wanted to spend more time. And so the night before we left, because the sun doesn't go down in the summer, we were out doing stuff, and I had a few drinks in me, and I was like trying to think of like how like I had experienced so much in such a short time, and I didn't want to let this feeling just go. Because when someone asks, "Oh, how was your trip?" You never can really project how that trip is. You say it's good or whatever. At that moment, I felt an obligation to say, "This is what I'm feeling emotionally right now, and I want to put that into something." And that's when I sat down, got my computer, and wrote the voiceover. I wrote it once and just wrote all of it that night at about
Really?
4 a.m. I just wrote, and I literally did like, okay, waterfalls. I should write about this. Oh, these places I visited. And then when I came back to Chicago, I just and it worked out perfect because I was actually again exhausted, hungover, kind of somber, but it worked because my voice was even deeper. And I was like, this is a good time to record this because I can still feel that longing and that missing of Iceland. And so that's when I recorded it in my apartment. And then I spent the next week just editing. So it only took 5 days to edit the documentary.
And it's so visually dynamic. And I think you did a really good job of conveying that with your narrative throughout. So I appreciate that. As someone who's never been, appreciated that narrative. And it was a very unique. I think I want to go to the hot springs. You all made that look
Yeah.
really fun and,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
relaxing.
right. And that's the thing. It's just like anywhere else. And I try to abide by this rule when I travel. Learn, go to these places, countries, or even in the States, wherever you go, find out what the locals do. Because you're going to have a really authentic experience versus like if I stayed in Reykjavik, which is a lot of Americans do, there's nothing wrong with that, but it really could have been any European city. When
Mm,
we're up in Uri and all these places where there are no tourists, or if there's any tourists, it's like a Belgium who basically lives up there. You
mhm,
start to really have an understanding of what makes that country what it is, and it
mm.
really I don't know you just get to see behind the curtain, and you also just get respected for it. I really like that too. It's a grace thing. It's like you're in their land and you should appreciate it.
So let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
So you gravitated toward these places in Iceland that were kind of remote and not touristy, but that's where you hail, right? You come from an area in PA
Yes.
that is pretty remote. So is that just your jam? Is that what you're going with? Come to the dark side, to the populace. Tell us about PA. What's so great about that? If I were to
Yeah.
travel there,
It's
where should I go?
good question. Loaded PA is a huge state, by the way. If you ever
I've
it's
been there.
enormous.
Hershey Park, a couple
Hell yeah,
times.
Hershey Park's amazing. I'd say go there. Honestly. Um I said this the other day. It's like I'm dating two different women in love with both. And one is Pennsylvania and one is Chicago. And they're vastly different. So I grew up outside of a small town called Womelsdorf, Pennsylvania.
What?
Exactly. The town
What?
itself had 3,000 people. I wasn't in the town. I was in the borough. There was so little people, they didn't know what to name it. So they basically drew a circle and said, okay, you're part of Womelsdorf. We were a 10-minute drive from it. So I grew up around nothing in the country. Um, and there's a lot of beauty to that. And I spent most of them, I did a lot of hard work. Like I didn't grow up on a farm, but I grew up on 4 acres, a lot of hard work. Um, I was a cross country runner, so a lot of running in the mountains and the woods, which I really loved. Um, that sort of eastern side of PA is beautiful. Like if you ever had a chance, you're at Hershey's, so if you're not far, if you had a chance to go to places like Jim Thorpe, which is in the mountains, they call it the Switzerland of the United States. It's this coal town that's literally in the mountains. Um, so it's
Sounds like the
just
beginning of a horror movie
right. I
for
know,
myself. I don't know about
but
that.
it's pretty great though. It really is, and it's yeah. So like that eastern side of PA is what I know most. Like I didn't spend much time in Pittsburgh. That's like it might as well be another state because of how
Hmm.
huge Pennsylvania is. The joke is you got Philly on the east, Pittsburgh on the west, and Alabama in the middle because there's nothing in the middle. There's no town, there's no big cities, there's nothing really big in the center of Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
And it's, giant state. So I definitely that's how I grew up. And crazy enough, the reason I decided to come to Chicago is I knew I wanted to get into marketing. I knew I wanted to leave the small town. I saw What Women Want with Mel Gibson. And I was like, I'm going to move to Chicago and I'm going to go into advertising. And I moved to Chicago and my first internship was in advertising. And the girl I was dating at the time, she lived across the street from where his girlfriend lived in the movie. So talk about manifest destiny.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
that is what that I don't know why I said Chicago. I could have said New York, could have said Philly, much closer. I was just like, no,
Yeah.
I want to jump, I want to go somewhere. And when I came here in January and it was freezing and the sidewalks were ice, but I fell in love with the city.
But it's colder here than there
Oh,
because of the
100%.
lake effect or
Yeah.
whatever.
Pennsylvania is all rolling hills and mountains. So
Mhm.
you don't yeah, of course it gets cold for sure. But like that sort of slap in the face here where it just never gets cold. It just always keeps getting colder. The mountains save that in PA. You
Okay.
get the snow instead and it kind of warms up. As you know, here it's like a crack across the face of an ice bat. And no, you don't have that in Pennsylvania really.
Yeah, it's cold for me right now, especially in the podcast room. So being so far away from your family, and I feel like from what I gathered, your family is really big part of who you are and very important that you all were pretty much together.
Yeah.
How did you sustain yourself? Because that's got to be a little bit of a culture shock to move from this. I'm going to call it a commune. Hopefully that's not derogatory
It's not
and disparaging, but this little close-knit family to country mouse in the big city, taking on advertising, but then you ended up at Columbia and having a whole TV career. So
Yeah.
walk me through that.
Yeah, so it's important to preface, and you know this because of the documentary about my family. They weren't country bumpkins. They actually grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, and then moved to the country. So I'm really technically the first generation country bumpkin of the family.
I would never call you
right,
that.
which whatever. It's I love anyway, so it's fine. So they were family is very close, important to me, and family. I was always taught, family is everything. They're there for you no matter what. Even if you fight, whatever, this is important. Stay together. You will succeed better than apart. My mom was really, really championing me to do more than she did because she had me at 15. My dad was 17. They didn't graduate high school. She eventually got her GED, but they never left that town. And mom always wanted to. And so she instilled in me, don't do what I did. Go explore, go do things. So they really encouraged me, even though they didn't, they were so young themselves when I was coming to Chicago. They didn't really know how to assist. They just knew that I needed to do it. They didn't know what was going to, I don't think they expect me to still be here 20 years later. I think they thought I'd eventually come back or go to Philly or New York, and I never did. But that's what got me here. And I went to Columbia to finish school. And yeah, I studied marketing and advertising at Columbia. So that's how I got my foot in the door. And I was very, very, very ambitious because unlike my peers at Columbia, unlike most of them, I shouldn't say everyone, I didn't have the financial luxury that they did. Like there's an inside joke at Columbia used to be that they call it the 7-year undergrad. Basically, they can float around Columbia because their parents are paying and they can discover themselves as an artist. I didn't have that luxury. I had a lot of student loan debt, still do, and I had to figure out I had to get a job fast. So it's like, okay, you're thrust into Chicago, which is unlike anything ever been before. And you got 3 years to get through school and somehow land a job and make it on your own in the city. Good luck, go. No one can help you. No one's ever done this before. No one's ever left their town, but you're going to have to do it. And I did. And so I was very ambitious. And Columbia does have a lot of connections because the teachers are still working in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they saw that I was very ambitious. And what changed my career path was one of the intern advisors handed me a card. He said, call this guy. His name's Jay Wadwa at NBC5. He goes, I think he'd be interested in your talents. Now, at that time, I was shooting videos and stuff, but I never produced anything necessarily, nothing of high level. I was young, 19 or 20. I had I just met with him and he was very impressed with how ambitious I seemed. And he was like, hey, are you interested in getting an internship? And that changed everything. So from the internship, to give you a time frame here, I went from intern to paid part-time to producer at NBC5 to NBC Universal to on air on NBC Universal in under 8 months.
Well,
so
that must be nice.
So it was I went from being an intern on a local, NBC5 to literally being on national television on In the Loop with iVillage with Bill Rancic and Eric Vetrini in 2007.
I think I saw a clip of that on your Instagram.
It might be. I might have put it.
A throwback. You called it a throwback. But,
yeah, I mean so that was, and there was it had a lot to do with A, my ambition, B, timing, because the industry, and we talk about this now, you and I off of the podcast, the industry was changing. The kind of how it is now, the way things were being done on tape and you needed 3 guys to shoot or edit was starting to make way to what was now known as, content creation, digital media, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was starting to have rumblings at this level.
Okay.
HD was starting to look like this is the future. Film is starting to shift into the digital realm. And I was young and tech savvy. And so I could come in with a laptop and do the work that used to take 3 guys. Now, let me tell you, they weren't happy with it. There were not open arms when I was working at NBC5 or NBC Universal. Hell, they weren't happy with me 5 years ago at ABC5. There was really, or ABC7.
What's not to love?
Right. Well, because they see the writing. I was the face of inevitability. I was a young guy. I was half the age of these guys. And they saw my job is done because I don't know how to edit on computers. I've been shooting on cameras forever.
Mr. Know-it-all.
Right. I knew, and it was mostly out of necessity because if you're a poor college student, how am I going to get my hands on a $50,000 Panasonic? I'm not.
Right.
But I can get my hands on, a laptop and a DV camera and you can edit and shoot. And so that helped also accelerate my career because I was at the right place at the right time. I knew how to do this stuff. And so give him producer role. He knows how to do it. And honestly, that intersection of technology and media is still the core of who I am and what I've done and what I'm still doing is that intersection of tech, intersection of media, and how I've made them work together.
Yes. And when I crafted your bio with the help of ChatGPT,
I wondered if you were doing that, the little ChatGPT action. I couldn't tell, honestly. It seemed like it was your words. Good job.
I fed it the prompts. I knew what I wanted. And that's the first thing it called you, a media entrepreneur. That's such a weird word. And technology executive.
Ooh, technology executive.
Based in Chicago, Illinois. But I'm like, he's an implant. He's not really.
Well, I've been here 20 years. So
okay, sure.
So come on now.
Sure.
I feel like I earned it. 20, it's 2 decades.
Woo, I've been here a few decades myself.
Some of these people watching aren't even of that age. So come on now. I think I've earned it. I've earned my place in Chicago.
No one calls it Chicago.
I know. I'm just
okay. You PA person, you. Why leave? You are accelerating through the ranks of television and media and a producer and some on-camera time because they liked your face. Why leave that glamorous life?
Well, that's what people don't realize. It wasn't all glamour. I
what?
mean, right? I mean, so to fill in the gaps here of why I'm not in TV. First off, the show at NBC, the date's very important. It was 2007. And um, when I started, they liked me. I was testing so well on air. They're like, we want Jared on every day with the hosts. So I was like, this is amazing. My life is going to change. Within a week, I went on Friday, went to a meeting, and my boss is like, I'm just going to lay it out. The show's canceled. It was right before the recession. So NBC, I got laid off immediately. So within 6 months of that show, I was done. I did not get another job for a year and a half. I was living literally on ramen, and that's it for a year. It was terrible because I remember seeing this on TV back then. It was like the three hardest jobs to get during the recession. Number one were finance, because that was bye-bye. Number two was journalism. Number three is TV. And so I had the journalism.
So 2 and
TV.
3.
Right. And so I remember I applied for a job, and the guy's like, I had 7. Now, this is long before LinkedIn or anything. The guy said, I have 750 people applied to this job. The salary is $30K a year. I mean, that's how bad the market was.
Wow.
So I eventually made my way out of it. I got back onto TV and in TV at ABC. And I was there for a while. I think 2 reasons I left. One, the writing was on the wall that this is not sustainable. I wasn't growing. I mean, we were having these meetings and we were seeing the charts of like mobile views versus television views, right? And so you're watching this, right? You're like, it's like working for a typewriter company and computers are out. Like, you saw that this is not sustainable. And every year, all I kept hearing is, we don't have money for this. We don't have money. And so that was really the deciding factor of like, I got to get out of here. And I got to focus back on stuff that I want to do. And again, which was heavy on the tech side.
You have a very slick website.
Thanks.
And I like it. And it elevates you almost, and it's saying that you've done all this cool shit. And I think it's really admirable for you to switch gears from, hey, I'm working in this industry, it's treating me well, to I'm going to forge my own path. And it seems like you did that. You want to tell us about your passion projects? Because it's several of them.
Yeah.
I could go gaming under the influence. I could go Pick Squid. Love Pick Squid. It was so easy to navigate. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I mean, you found that. I didn't even have to send you the link to the doc. I was happily impressed that you found that instantly. Because I didn't give you I didn't even tell you where it was. You just went on Pick Squid and found it.
No, yeah.
Well, I'll say this to start as a preface to that, is that charting, it's important you say that, like charting your own path. And it's so much harder than people realize. And a lot of people are afraid to do it, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to do it. Like, if you want to succeed in not even just entertainment and anything, you have to do the uncomfortable stuff. And so, like, as an example, even during the recession, I like I said, I couldn't find a job, right? They're seeing a million versions of me. I only had a year really of TV experience. So now I'm competing with guys that are in their 40s who are really will take anything to have money. I learned quickly that you got to be clever about this stuff. And one of the first things I did back then, which was really novel, was instead of sending a cover letter that's like a page long and all this stuff, I literally wrote a sentence. This is me. This is what I've done. Check it out. And then there was a link to a website. And the website was like this insane flash video and like, Jared the producer, Jared this. And it's like all this stuff. I was getting calls everywhere. So here went a year of no job interviews, nothing. And I basically said, fuck it. And I'm going to do something wild. And I'm going to make this crazy website. I'm going to have I'm going to have no cover letters. I'm going to have the simplest resume, and it's going to be this site. I was getting calls all over the country, San Diego, New York. Everyone was like, we want you as a creative producer because we've never seen anyone. We've never seen anyone do something like this.
Whoa.
Now today it's you just need to, that's a default. But there's still opportunity to do it in general. And so, yeah, as a segue, so I've just always had that ambition of just doing stuff. Like, I'm just, like you said, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do it. The first big project, because I had others like Project Slasher, which was cool, interactive horror movie, low budget, very fun though. Fun fact on that, if anyone wants to see it, it is on my website, interactive horror movie.
Tell me your website.
JaredHoffa.com.
It's so...
I just use my name.
So smooth.
Yeah. I'm hosting it out of my apartment, which is hilarious. So I just built the server.
What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
So Project Slasher is interesting too. Interactive horror movie, made it for $2,000 many years ago. It starred Amber Lake, who won Rock of Love. So fun fact, this little interactive movie where I had her star blew up. I remember I went online, and again, this is late 2000s. and I looked at Google Analytics existed. It was very simple back then, but I had like 10,000 viewers on the site. I was like, what the hell? Because this is long before social media could share anything.
Mm.
People Magazine covered it. So People Magazine was like, hey, Amber Lake is in this weird interactive horror movie. So this $2,000 interactive movie blew up. And then I'm selling DVDs all over the world, which is funny because I didn't price it right. So I'm losing money on DVDs.
Oh.
But then it gets so far that I end up meeting with the senior vice president of DirecTV, who was interested in
Oh my
2007.
God, I remember that.
And he said, hey, because at that time they were starting to include games onto the set-top box. And I had pitched them like,
what happened to those guys?
DirecTV's around, but it's gone. It's not what it was. But even he had an interest. Even he had an interest in, could we make interactive movies on DirecTV? So here I am, like 23, or I don't know how old I was, 23, 24, talking to the SVP of DirecTV, like, could you integrate this $2,000 movie? And I think that's what really ignited the realization that, okay, this is what I'm good at, media and tech. And that leads into the big one, which is gaming under the influence. And that was the big everything. It's pivot, even includes
coming soon to Cine City
right?
Studios.
I want to bring it back.
Gaming under the influence.
So the story, if you want to hear the story about that.
Of course.
Okay. So again, I am interested in tech and media. I was starting to understand about this tech called, live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at WCIU TV at the time, a little known site called Justin.tv was out. And I saw these gamers streaming and gaming. Justin eventually became Twitch, but it was the original platform.
Okay.
I was blown away for multiple reasons. One, this seemed like the solution, and this felt to me in the TV space how I felt when I originally joined TV, and I saw the transition into digital media. I saw a really easy way that you could broadcast things live online without giant satellite trucks, and then people could chat, interact. I was fascinated immediately because it seemed like this is a real legit solution just for TV networks, for content. This is the future. I'm also a huge gamer, so it was a win-win.
I was just about to ask, are you a gamer?
Oh, 100%.
Are you PC, PlayStation?
I play them all. I've reverted back to PC now, so I'm a big PC master race baby.
Okay, yay.
that's my
PlayStation.
Yeah. I
I'm
haven't
a
had
PlayStation gal.
since I haven't had it since PS1, so
They've got the Oculus headsets now.
No, I have a Quest. I have a Quest 2 and 3.
Oh, okay.
I got both of those.
Yeah, okay, good for you.
So that good for you. That was the beginning of what I saw, and so I really wanted to learn more about it. And so I flew to South Korea like a year or two later and was checking out their esports because I started really diving into this. Like I was building these like live streaming setups and doing fighting game community stuff. And for free, I would just take my gear and we'd broadcast live in high quality. And the thing that was fascinating is like, I'm bringing producers and shooters. These aren't just kids that like gaming and have a webcam. So like we're coming to these, right. So they're like, holy shit, like these are legit TV people that are streaming at gaming events. So
That's
it was
pretty cool.
Right. So it was like very new for the gaming community and very new and so it was like this unique blend. And then I just started to go, okay, I want to learn more about there got to be a way to monetize this, got to be a way to make this work. Because I was testing it. Went to South Korea. I learned what they were doing. But what I learned right away was that the way that Korea does esports, America could never do. And the craziest thing is the executives in America still haven't figured this out. And I've told them repeatedly, esports does not work in America. It is not culturally, it will not work culturally because of who we are as a country. Esports, the way it works, where it's like these Dota or WoW or all these games like that, only works because that society was grown up on PC bangs, as these PC like open areas to hang out.
PC bangs.
They're called PC bangs. So it's where you can sit and play these games. It's culturally, we've never had that.
Okay.
Americans are loud, rude, and we love game shows, and that's just who we are. We like things that are loud and explode, right? And even our game shows like Wipeout, WWE, all this stuff is like that. It's not, and gaming is hard for most people to understand. Even people who play games don't call themselves a gamer. And so when I came back from South Korea, I realized, look, there's a huge opportunity, but I can't do an esports show. It's going to do shit. No one's going to watch it. That's when I decided, what if we combine WWE style with esports, but make it so anyone can play the games? And so the idea was, gaming under the influence is the influence of the audience being able to vote and interact and fuck with the contestants. So we started bar to bar, and people would drink and they'd go crazy, and it would broadcast live, but it would be 3 people. That's it. The games could be Mario Kart, it could be Pac-Man, it could be easy. And so what it did is it introduced gaming to the public in a way that they could understand. So if you're at a bar and you see someone playing Mario Kart against someone else, you can understand what's happening, even if you're not a gamer. And if you could join that, maybe we tag you in as like tap you in for that round. What it did is it started to create this energy of like, whoa, gaming's cool. It's mainstream. Now, again, 2025, it is. But in 2011, when I was doing this, 2012, it was still really looked at as like, who the fuck games? Like the weird guy in the basement, And so I started to really break those myths because I started to do this show in bars in Wrigleyville, the last place anyone would assume something like this could work. It started to grow. Eventually in 2015, I raised some money and I built a studio. So I had a big gaming on the influence studio every Friday, live DJ, live music, live beer.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was, again, ahead of its time. Facebook Live didn't even exist yet. So we built our own streaming platform, would fly people in. It was very expensive to run, but it was cool. It was again, I had believed that this is the future. So
when you bring it back,
right. So, well then,
what's going to happen? What's going to be different now when you bring it back?
Honestly, nothing. I mean, no, there's things I want to bring back. I mean, the reason it failed has nothing to do with GY and everything to do with agents in Hollywood. That was as I told you before we started this, that's what killed the whole deal. Because eventually Sony offered me $2 million a season for the show. And the deal, the deal got killed because my agent said, I don't like the commission.
So now we're not
deal
with agents.
No, exactly.
And that led you to yet another.
Right.
You're a serial
entrepreneur, I guess.
Yes.
And so, yeah. So, and someone asked me recently, because I've done a few talks on this about GY and my history. And I tell people, like, I didn't take it easy and lightly, right? Like it wasn't, everyone's like, oh, it's a learning lesson. It is after years of being furious that you had spent years and tens of thousands of dollars of your own money to build something that gets crushed because of one person. So, yes, it was. That
was pretty shitty though.
Right. I mean, so
like how
I took it very hard and not the best all the time. I didn't just nod my head and say, oh, it's a learning, I was vicious and I was angry and I blamed a lot of people. But yes, out of that came a realization that A, GUI could come back. And 2, there's a real problem with Hollywood and gatekeepers and agents. And I witnessed it firsthand. Like I had all the proof. I had the show, I had the concepts, the data, and one man determined that, I don't like your commission, so I'm going to kill this deal. Right. And
where is he so we can go fuck him up?
He's still a very well-respected agent in Hollywood. So
not for long.
Right, not for long. We're going to find
long, buddy. We're coming for you.
Exactly. So,
do you know who he is?
Do you know who I am? Do you know what you did? And that led to, recently, Picksquid, which is what you brought up.
Yay, Picksquid.
Picksquid.
So if I could get Rujani, am I saying her name?
Rujani, yeah.
If I could get her ass in here for an interview.
Yes.
And so you all have to come back and you have to pull her in. But tell me about how did you all even decide, like, hey, we're going to be partners and co-found this? And
so she had started Picksquid originally before I joined, and it was mostly focused as an independent platform for filmmakers. So streaming platform, independent film. I know she had wanted to do more than that, like expand it out. She didn't quite know how, and she also did her best technically, but it's a big overhaul to build a streaming platform, especially if you've never built something like that. I had, and I understood that stuff, but this is years before I started with her. So she got it to a point where people were using it and it was the streaming platform. She wanted it to grow, didn't quite know how to make it grow and get it to that next level. So then here I come after my experiences and
and the anger.
Right, and the anger, which really did fuel it. And I said, at first I saw what she was doing. I thought it was cool, but I was like, there's a lot of streaming platforms. That in itself isn't enough to get what you want to do. When I started thinking more about the community that she had built and how filmmakers felt with my own experience on the other side of it, that's when I realized if we combine forces and we focus now on this isn't just a streaming platform, it's a marketplace.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's a decentralizing of Hollywood. This is a way that someone has a real opportunity for a short film to make money, whether it's pay-per-view or to sell it directly to a Sony without the agent.
Mhm.
When I said that, that's when we decided about a year, more than a year ago, let's team up. I'll, I'll sign on as a co-founder to this new edition, and this is the direction we're going. And in under 6 months from that point, we rebuilt the entire platform.
It's
And as you
slick.
saw, it's slick, it's fast. We
It's
have
nice.
1,000+ users. We have hundreds of films on it. And yeah, it's making a serious dent in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, but where's your tank top?
I know, right? I still don't have a tank top, which I want.
I find that so hard. She reps the brand hard.
She reps it hard.
And it's like,
Reps it hard.
Rajani. Oh,
I know.
dear. Oh.
You yell at me every time you see me. Where?
I don't yell.
Okay, I exaggerate. You don't yell, but you're like, where is
yelling.
it? I do have a mug, but I'm not carrying the mug everywhere. So,
Where's my mug? I thought I was gonna.
oh, I should have brought it. But then I wouldn't have a mug. So we're very, our swag goes quick, so we have to constantly order it, and we don't often have it.
Who's placing these fictitious orders? Because I want to put in an
Fictitious
order for like a pick squid.
It's gonna be like that
Okay.
commercial with the $1 bill. Oh,
Oh,
almost
gotta
had
be
it.
quick. Gotta be quicker than that.
Right, that's what we'll do.
We had Jerry on, and I'm saying we. I guess
We.
it's me and GC. We're in
Yeah.
this. Jerry on, and he had the most viewed film on Pick Squid.
Most paid too. Most viewed.
Most
Most paid.
Damn, I should have got with Jerry. No, I'm kidding.
We
Damn,
love-
he's making
we love-
$1.99 per film. Damn.
We love Jerry. He's the best. Yeah, he really is a catalyst like for Pixquid. He's a great example of what that platform can do because it's like he's making money, it's self-promoting for himself, it's doing everything he wants. So
Yeah, Spaghetti Man. That's next on the list because I'm watching a film per day.
nice.
But speaking of film, so we're at this event on Saturday, and I already knew that I wanted you both on for the Pick Squid aspect. But then you start telling me about your very colorful origin story.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued, I'm enthralled. I go home, I watch it. I think I text you, I'm like, I watched it. And then I sent the oh my God face and then the head explodes face. I'm like, wow. Now I'm assuming this is your cousin. You and your cousin did this? Logan? Is that Logan?
Yep.
What the fuck? I'm sorry, there's no other word for it. I'm not a documentary person, but I've seen documentaries. 3 Identical Strangers was like my top documentary. This is a close second because the twists and turns are, I'm not expecting. I'm watching it. I'm listening to this lady talking about how she met her partner, her life partner. And I'm like, oh, I want a love story. Awesome. What the fuck happened? What the fuck? Tell us, how did you all decide, hey, we're going to put our shit out? Because that's a level of vulnerability like, wow.
Yeah, and honestly, it really is.
And it's your entire family.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and grandmother really opened themselves up, and I think they always wanted to. The reason why is it's really weird. And looking back,
Wait. We're talking about All We Had, An American Tragedy.
Yes, so the documentary is called All We Had, An American Tragedy.
Okay.
And originally the idea was, and again, it's when you're in that life, like that's your family, it's really hard to see that that's a problem, or very hard to see it being different. And that's the other thing, like when you grow up like that, you have to step out to see it. And it's funny because even after I've done that, like I see things now that I didn't see even years ago. And so we were sort of naive, we were young and we were naive to the idea that like we had heard these crazy stories. We lived some of these stories. Like I'm a byproduct of a very loving, but very dysfunctional, violent family. And the story really is telling how, the impact of 2 people can ripple for decades and how it can impact generations of the same family. That never gets talked about. It's either like, oh, this is cool, this is sexy, this is, Goodfellas.
Sexy?
Some people, glamatize it like this is Scarface, this is Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But those, if you look at even those movies in that style, it's always very one-dimensional in the sense of time-wise. Like it starts, it ends usually, right? It's like, oh, it was fun and people die and that's the end of it. All we had shows that even when, as you said, like, oh, it's they're high schoolers in the early 50s. Like that decision affected my life in some ways good, in some ways really bad, and made me who I am and the reason I'm here. And so that was not our original intention. Like when Logan and I wanted to do this, and we actually were interested in just doing one scene from her life. It's the black and white. So Logan,
was that flashback that you all had in there where the guy
where shoots the guy in the mouth.
Yeah.
So he had gotten access to Kodak film because Kodak was trying to make a run for it for the younger filmmakers because digital was obviously going to be the standard. So we had access to film, which is really hard, still very hard to get access to 35 millimeter. So we thought, cool, we're going to shoot this scene, that really intense scene. And so we shot it, we were preparing to shoot it, and we thought, hey, we should get video documentation of what happened. And then that's when we just started rolling. It was like a Thanksgiving break. We just did like a couple days of her telling these stories. We came back to Chicago. That's when Logan said, I think this is the story. I think we should make this into a documentary. And so then it went from, okay, the focus is the short, to no, why don't we fly back and now next time get her whole story. And now let's get your mom's side of the story. And that's what we did. We just recorded everything. And then what makes it really crazy is the stories are crazy, the situation is crazy, the results crazy, but there's factual evidence that backs up her stories. There's newspaper articles.
I saw the newspaper
There's audio
articles.
Tapes. There's things.
I heard you on the audio tape as a baby.
Right. It's crazy to hear myself. So, it's not just a family's opinion, and there is obviously it is opinion because they're telling about themselves. But there's real factual evidence that when she's saying that these things happened, they happened.
I'm like, she is a badass motherfucker.
She is.
Because this was her person, and she is the epitome of a ride or die. Like
100%.
She stood by him. She didn't entertain anybody else. God, like they don't make women like
no.
I certainly am. I am a leverer. I'm not a ride or die. But it's sweet that everything that they did was for their family. They had a goal in mind. They were working toward that goal to take you all away, but to keep the family together.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet. There was a part where she was talking about your grandmother.
Yeah.
She was talking about how corrupt the legal system was and how they were like essentially judging them for their activities, but they were doing very similar extortionist activities. And she was like, well, who's the real criminal here? And I'm like, she's got a point.
Right. She does.
She's got a point. It makes sense. Like she's lived it. She's seen it. And whoa.
Yeah, she says, and she still says it's to this day. And she's obviously still about family. And even now, like it's still about family. And the family's even smaller now than it was in that documentary because even crazier things have happened in my family since then. So it's really just
part 2 coming.
Right? It's really just my mom, my grandmother, me, and Logan, who's in Seattle now, and his family. But the original is just us 3 now on that property, and then I go back. So, but she always said, and it's true, everyone has these skeletons in their closet, but most people try to hide it. My grandmother and grandfather, and even my mom, they never hid who they were. And so they never pretended to be better than anyone. And they always made it very clear, this is who I am, and I'm not perfect, and I do these kind of fucked up things, but this is it. And if you to judge me when, like you said, like you're the bail bondsman or you're the lawyer and you're trying to get the drugs or I mean, as you saw, it eventually got so bad that they shut plea bargaining down for Pennsylvania. I mean, the feds came. I mean, it elevated to a level that the whole court was corrupt. And if that can happen 40, 50 years ago, who's saying it's not happening now?
It is happening.
Obviously, we know that, right?
I'm sure it's still happening. I think my favorite part, and I don't want to give any spoiler alerts because I want everyone to go to picksquid.com and make a free account
Free.
and watch all we had. When she wants her fucking $5,000 back from the shithead that didn't do what he was supposed to do, and she and Ted go to him, and she goes in the bathroom to get the dog out of the way, and they're modern day Bonnie and Clyde. I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
I'm rooting. This has got to be a feature. It's got to be a feature. Sorry.
Yeah, you just said that. I agree. It's a time to revisit that. I think it would be good to do that. I would love to do
Yes,
that.
I would like to be. No, I would like to cast myself.
Cast yourself. Fit perfect role. Fit it perfectly.
We'll do some embellishments,
Yep.
but it's a very good story. It's a very empowering story just to see the strength. You could hear the strength. Like she endured so much pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that
Wow.
was something that still really instilled in me is exactly that. Like you do whatever you can for your family, no questions asked. Like they're your family, and that's how it should be. You can disagree, you can fight. No one's perfect. It was weird for me as I got older to see families that on the surface look like the normal family, but then under the surface, disliked each other, would do things, against each other. Like I always found that to be very weird. My family was of course dysfunctional, but they would never purposely try to hurt, whether financially, mentally, whatever, the core family. That was never a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so then to see these people who look like the Joneses and on the surface look great, but then underneath have all these lies and deceits and are horrible to the kids, and the kids hate it just felt like a very broken system.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not condoning everything that my family did. But there is something to that. And I still hold on to that. I think a lot of the success I've had is due to the people I bring into my circle that I trust and they trust me. I do everything for them. They are a family in their own right. And so many people just don't value that sort of connection with other people. It's sort of like what can you do for me? It's very transactional, and I hate that so much. It's like the worst thing you can do.
So you pour into other people. Who pours into you? And how proud is your granny and your mom of you right now?
Mom is. I still call my mom for a lot of advice. I just talked to her when I'm on my way here, so I know that.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I mean she's been my biggest supporter and someone I really lean on for a lot, and as well as my grandmother, who has really really great insights and very smart about things. You can show her about AI and she understands like even without the technical aspect. So I really lean on them a lot, and I know I do know I make them very proud, and that makes me feel.
That's so sweet. Okay,
I know.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, I mean that's for me, and yeah, I try to instill that in other people as well. Like I always talked. It sounds stupid, but I always talk to other, like ask how other people are doing. Like truly ask. Like
you've never asked me how
are you doing, Dawn?
Every time I see you, it's giving me shit. Every time.
It's reciprocal. Come on now.
No, I'm like, hey, do you want a gummy bear? And you're like, I put those gummy bears there.
I threw it at you, and I'm like, I hate this. How dare you?
I don't want to spike my glucose, you idiot.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just it's really important to have that connection. Like if you like your friends, like, hey dude, are you like, it's been a while. Are you actually okay? Like it's easy to say, oh, good. That's what we all do. But like I take a vested interest in other people and their hobbies. Like I support them. I go see my friends who play sports or volleyball, whatever. Like I make that a point. And then on the business relationship side, like the reason GUI succeeded so long and was alive so long is that it was 10 years of basically not paying them. It wasn't me doing GUI alone. There was a whole team that was a mini TV studio basically. But I made it a point that any dollar I ever got, it went to them. I made it a point that anytime there's opportunity, they got it. And that all instills from my family and the idea that like you do for each other, because that's the stronger way to go. And I see today, like people try to do some of the stuff that I've done. They don't have that mindset and they wonder why people walk off the project in a day or a month because they don't feel valued. They don't feel there's no investment. I always say, this isn't my show. This is our show. This isn't my company. This is our company. I don't mean in some sort of dumb LinkedIn way. I mean it in, I want you to get something out of this because then we all get something out of this.
Yeah, remember that. It's our feature.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sign the dotted line here.
It's ours.
Right.
If you could go back in time and give yourself, your younger self, some advice, knowing all the shit that you've been through, knowing where you've come from, you were on the college team, right? You ran at the collegiate level.
Here's a real crazy one for that too. So I was one of the best runners in Pennsylvania, but I was very much like Happy Gilmore. I wanted to be a soccer player, and I wasn't really good at soccer, not as good as a runner. So I was this phenomenal runner and an okay soccer player, but it was cool to be a soccer player, and my friends are soccer players. So what happened is I was a runner, but with the soccer player mentality. So if I'd ever lose a race, which wasn't often, I would throw the baton.
Oh,
I would be booed because I would cut people off at the finish line. If I would win, I would literally do cartwheels and be like, "Suck it!" So I was the worst runner. I was the Happy Gilmore of running.
Okay, so a second feature.
Yeah, right. And what makes it crazier is after high school, I ended up seeing my track coach, who was female, and dating her. So out of when I was going to college, I was like,
oh, he likes older women.
Yep.
Oh, okay. There's hope for us all.
So yeah, but anyways, yes. Going back to your question, was it?
Yes. What would you tell your younger self?
Definitely, you don't need to do everything yourself. A lot of stuff I would do, like even with GUI, I could have saved myself a lot of pain if I just lifted my head up from the grind and had people help me or show me like, hey, here's resources to do this, or hey, I can connect you with someone. Just because you can do stuff physically or mentally doesn't mean you should always. Like sometimes it's good to take a breather and be like, okay, this isn't working. The answer isn't, well, I just need to have my head down more and work at it. There's something wrong. I need to figure out what that is. And a lot of cases for me, it was, I would do all this stuff on my own, which sounds great. Like, oh my God, he designed this stuff. He does all this stuff. But then I had no network to grow that thing because no one was part of it. And so
and they didn't know it as intimately.
They didn't even know it existed. And
Yeah.
so now I'm alone on an island, and yeah, I built this amazing thing, but no one knows it exists. And I had not built the relationships to then branch it out. That's what's different about Pixquid, and I really do thank Rajani for that because she's very different. She's all about the networking, all about growing the people that can assist. And I'm learning from that because I thought if I can do it myself, I'm going to do it myself.
That is a trauma response. I
did not know that. But
hyper independence. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, I wonder where I got the trauma from.
No idea. I don't know anything about your backstory.
Right?
But it's genetically encoded. So you didn't have to experience it. Could have had the best childhood ever, but your mom experienced a lot. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, so on that note,
right?
So you would tell your younger self to
ask for help more, to work together.
Delegate.
Yes, delegate's the word. Delegate.
Okay, gotcha.
I've gotten much better. When I was younger, I did not delegate the way I should have. I would just do it myself, and that was not always the best.
All right. So tell the world how they can find you on various social media platforms.
Yeah. Obviously, my baby is Pixquid, so pixquid.com. That is where you can see all we had. And Gaming Under the Influence, an episode is also on there, so you can watch that. And then any of my other projects, just my name, jaredhoffa.com. You can do that. Okay.
And passion projects, what are you working on next other than the reignition?
I am in the process. It's GOI I would love to bring back. A lot of people keep reaching out recently, like you should bring it back. I would love to. I can make that work. I am in the throes right now of finishing a pilot. I shot it a year ago called 486. I'm in it as a drunken lunatic.
A blonde?
Yes.
Are you going to dye your hair blonde again?
No, my hair is falling out after that, so I would be doing a wig if it gets picked up. It's just a pilot. It features Paul Racy and myself, and the concept is this alcoholic enters a drinking contest to get to the top of the building to fight the man who may have been alcoholic. The plot twist is it's a sci-fi. The building's very weird, and it's not our timeline. So there's a lot of twists and turns as to what's happening and why he's an alcoholic to begin with. So, but he wants revenge. He's trying to climb up 100 stories to fight the guy at the top. That's 486. So that's my project. Next project.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy work schedule. All right. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Thriving Artist. You can follow me at The Thriving Artist Podcast on Instagram or myself, The Blackstress, aka Dawn Tracy. And thanks again to Jared Hoffa. No relation to no. Total
There is
relation to Jimmy. Total relation to Hoffa. Maybe you should meet Jack Nicholson and see if
I'd like to meet him. He's a wild guy. Why
Yeah.
not?
See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.